Hi, my name is Rosemary. Welcome to So Fun for the month of June. And those of you who have watched me do So Fun in the past know that I really love the Tilde books. I think she always has some really cute projects in there, from quilts to bags to home deck. But this one is completely different than any of the ones I've done before. It is literally just her little stuffed animals. And when I saw it to be ordered, I thought the stuffed animals would be a little bit bigger, and they're not. They're actually pretty small, but I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of introduce more crafting into our So Fun, because we don't do a lot of crafting in So Fun. We want to do things with the sewing machine, but we all know that we have a glue gun, and we like to do some different kinds of home deck with our glue gun and with our glue, and something fast and easy. And that's what these are, very fast and easy. And the thing that attracted me right away from the very beginning was this absolutely adorable frog. And another thing I can say about these is they go together very, very fast. So there's not a lot of complicated stuffing and sewing involved in them. So, and there's also some little bees and some bunnies and that sort of thing in it. But to start with, let's start with the little frog. So it shows in the book it on a wooden wreath, and I went down and I picked up a wooden wreath at the craft store. And because, if you haven't noticed, our color this month is red, white, and blue, because we're in the month of June and we need to get ready for July. So I cheated a little bit and I made my frog in red, white, and blue fabrics that I had, and then I even made the little dragonfly in red, white, and blue scrap fabrics that I had. I did wrap the little body with some very strong thread and put some little eyes on it, which is not part of the pattern, but I thought it made it really fun. If you look in the book, the pattern has 3 or 4. I didn't really have room in the size wreath that I bought, so I only made one little dragonfly on there, and I glued these little wooden stars on there for buttons. The back is made with tongue depressors that you can buy at a craft store and painted and made into a little fence. And he's holding a dragonfly net in the book. But one of the things I say all the time is there's no pattern police. There's nobody going to come around and say you got to make it the way it says to make it. So I went and I got an American flag and I put that on there, and I put a bow up here on top. I just think he came out really, really cute. Very easy. I put beads in there for his eyes, but you can paint them on the way they do in the pattern. And then the next thing that's in the book that really caught my eye was the bumblebees. And she has some really cute bumblebees in here. And the picture's a little bit misleading. I thought they would be bigger than that, but they also are very small. They're made for decorations in your garden, and she does show you how to make the flowers that are in here as well. So I made 2 bumblebees. I made one where I increased the pattern, and because the patterns are so simple, it was pretty easy for me to just go ahead and draw it bigger, but you could put it on your scanning cut and increase the size that way if you wanted to. This is made of polar fleece, so it was really easy to make just by sewing the different strips together and making the back solid black. I glued a little bow on him that's red, white, and blue. The wings are made of wire, and the one in the book is just solid wire, but because this one was bigger and a little bit more softy, I put a cloth around the wire to make it a little bit softer. And then I actually started thinking about it. If you were going to give this to a small child, maybe you would just make the wings out of a solid piece of fabric and put a little batting in it or something like that, and it still would be a really cute little stuffed bumblebee. And then this is the way the bumblebee is shown in the book. I just thought that was just as cute as it could be. I went down to the dollar store and I found a pot and some moss to go on the top of it, and stuck a dowel in there. It says to put the dowel up inside the back of his body, and I just glued a little patch on the back. I just thought it looked like he has a patch on him. But I did make this out of quilting cotton, so if you look at it really close, the yellow fabric actually has little bumblebees on it. And then when I finished it, I thought, wouldn't it be cute if he had these 2 little fuzzy pom-poms on the top? So I also glued those on there. And the wings are made of plain wire in this one. I don't know that I would put this outside, but I've got a space in my house that's just plants by the window, and I thought this would be really cute, just sitting right in the middle of the plants. So that little bumblebee came out really cute. And then I always get carried away. I'm telling you, I could have made a whole bunch more stuff in here. I have to tell you that if you're not really big on stuffed animals and stuff, she makes some little bumblebees in this book that are made out of wooden balls and a little bit of polymer clay, and they're just as cute as they could be. And she also gives you the patterns to make some little cards that have bumblebees on them too. So you could do that. And all the other little animals like the kitty cats and the rabbits and all those you can make as cards. So that would be something that would be really fun if you're not into the stuffed animals. The bunny rabbits, again, were a little bit deceiving by the picture. I thought they would be big. They actually, to me, look like they're really big bunny rabbits, especially since he's holding a pot right there. But they're not. They're very tiny. But it also makes it so it's very easy to make the bunny rabbit. This one I made out of a little bit of minky that I had in the house. And it sews the feet together so they're very sturdy, so they would stand up if you wanted to stand them up somewhere. I put the little bead eyes in it instead of drawing the eyes because she was fuzzy. You do embroider the nose on there. This little hat is so easy to make. It's just like 2 pieces of fabric sewn together, turned inside out and pushed, and then glued right down. The ears are glued right onto the top of the head. The pattern for the dress in there was a little bit boring, and I didn't like it that much. So I just made some little straps and an apron and gave her some little coveralls with some fabric I had with a great big pocket, and I glued this little button right there. She has 2 little buttons right here. If you can't find little teeny tiny buttons, I'm gonna have them for So Fun this time that are actually made by Tilde for the Tilde animals. So you can look and find those and get them to put little buttons on your little characters. But this one is just as cute as it can be. So that is the Tilde's Friends book. So every month at So Fun, we usually try and have one embroidery in the hoop pattern. And the pattern I have is called 4 Cheers for the Red, White, and Blue Coasters. And again, my color this month, you can't tell by these quilts that much, but the color really is red, white, and blue. So I thought it would be really fun to make some coasters, or mug rugs, as a lot of us call them. And these are so easy. If you love those quilt in the hoop projects, you'll find these go up very, very fast. I think I made these 3 in an hour. And you just put them in the hoop of your machine, you lay down your batting, you lay down your top fabric, and then you turn them inside out and they're finished. So they go together really, really fast. I have to tell you that she gives you directions to cut each piece separately out neat and nice in a perfect 6.5 by 6.5 square or 3.5 by 6.5 square. The first thing is when you lay the batting down, you're still going to have to trim it. So don't worry about cutting that perfectly. Just get your piece of scrap batting, lay it down, lay the other fabric on top of it, and then after it sews the foundation piece and cut it away. The other part is the back part was too small for me. I like them to completely overlap each other. So I cut the piece a little bit bigger. I think she says 3.5 by 6.5. I made mine 5 by 6.5 and folded down a full inch and overlapped them. So then when you turn them inside out or outside in, you actually get a nice folded piece in the back instead of starting to see it and thinking you got to sew it closed or something like that. I also made this out of a layer cake that we have for So Fun this month, and I don't have the layer cake here, but it is the cutest fabric. It's got like fireworks on it, but besides that, most of the fabric has got buttons and spools of thread mixed with fireworks. So we have a sewing / 4th of July theme. So I just thought that fabric was really cute, red, white, and blue. This one here has got some little bumblebees and watermelons on it. So it's absolutely adorable fabric. You're going to love it. And that is the four cheers for the red, white, and blue coasters. Okay, so the next project I have for you is called the Tamarack jacket. And as I understand it, Tracy actually showed this a few years ago in So Fun, but I thought it would be something fun to bring back. It's a very simple jacket. The pattern actually tells you to take a lining fabric, a batting, and a top fabric, and then quilt it, and then sew it together. But I never can do anything the way the pattern tells you to do it. And I thought it would be really fun to take a jelly roll and sew it together and do a quilt as you go. I had picked up a jelly roll that was all different shades of blue and beige, so it's perfect for the color theme for this month. And what I did was I sewed them into strips together and then turned them 90 degrees, and then I cut down those, and then I took the strip and I sewed it through the batting and the lining. And then I took another strip and laid it and flipped and sewed it and flipped it. And then I would every once in a while just take a full strip of the jelly roll and lay it down there to kind of break it up a little bit. And then I did all the pieces that way so that I could sew it together when I was done. Then I started thinking about it, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun to stitch in the ditch with some decorative stitching? A lot of people, when they buy their sewing machine, they see the different feet. There's braiding feet, there's couching feet, there's piping feet, and you don't know what to do with them. But there's so many fun things you can do with them. You can actually sew an heirloom stitch that does a ladder stitch with your heavier decorative thread over a piece of ribbon and put it in a braiding foot. You can put piping braid that you buy at the fabric store in the braiding foot or in the piping foot, and then zigzag over it with invisible thread. And another thing a lot of people have maybe never even heard of is called bobbin work, where you literally take your bobbin and wrap it with a thicker kind of decorative thread, put that in the bobbin, take your fabric and turn it face side down and stitch on this side, and then this side has a 3D dimensional look to it that is a really kind of a pretty stitch that looks like you did it by hand. So there's a lot of different techniques that you can learn to do with your sewing machine, and this jacket kind of shows a whole lot of them, and if you don't know how to do any of that, come into one of our stores and we'll teach you. Okay, so I have a confession to make. I did this pattern way back probably 3 or 4 months ago, and then when I got ready to put everything together, I couldn't find it, and the copies of it have not come in yet, but we will have them in the store and online for you to purchase. This is called Beach Time, and it's a all applique project. So none of it's done in the hoop, none of it is embroidery. You literally cut out the applique pieces and iron them down and then stitch around them. I just thought it was so cute. 2 senior citizens standing on the beach. When I first saw this, I thought, I'll make 3 different panels and make a huge wall hanging out of it. But I have to confess, there's a lot of work to it. All these little teeny tiny pieces have to be sewn together, and by the time I finished one, I was pretty much done with it. But I still thought it came out really, really cute. The original pattern has a really old bald guy with his bathing suit trunks up to his chest, and it was cute, but at the same time, it kind of looked like he was wearing a dress. So I thought I would make this more like my daughter and my son-in-law. So if you look at it, he has a little goatee and he's got long hair, and she has purple hair, which my daughter does have purple hair, and she's kind of a bright person, so she has a really bright bathing suit. So you can really make this look like the people that you're trying to make it for. Use your imagination and stir it up a little bit. And then once you get it all completely finished, you can glue on some little flowers instead of applique a flower. I actually glued three-dimensional flowers on her shoes to give her just a little bit more of a zing. But it's a cute, cute pattern. And if you don't need a wall hanging, the pattern has a smaller version of the same two people that's made into a table runner that you could do that as well. Make it into a cute pillow that you can put out on your patio furniture or something like that. But it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it, and then I put it on my luminaire and I quilted the background with different fills. So the beach has got a different fill, the water's got a different fill, and the sky's got a different fill. So it's just fun to play around with all the different things you can do with it. And I sewed some little handles on it too, so we can put a stick through it and hang it up on the wall. So every month I try and have a purse pattern, and this month I have this pattern for you that's called Evelyn. It's not a big purse, and it's a little funny looking, to be honest with you. It's got this little tab that comes up. It's got 2 grommets, and then it has a handle right there. And I started to think about what I could make it out of. I looked through some of my fake leather, and then I looked through some fabric. I had some red, white, and blue fabric that I thought I might make it out of. But then as I was digging through my stash, I found this fabric that I bought when I was in San Diego. I went shopping with my mom, and I found this, and I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I just thought it was really, really cute, and it had matching fabric that went with it that I did the inside with. They're little birds, but they're kind of like little robot birds, and some of them are ironing boards, and some of them are pin cushions. One of them's an oil can, so it has a sewing, steampunk, robot kind of theme, but it's just the cutest fabric. So I went ahead and I made the purse out of this, and I just think it came out really cute. I also had in my stash some stripe, and at first I thought, well, maybe not stripe, but when I put it next to the fabric, I realized it really was what I wanted it to be. This pattern has the zipper literally right on the top. So at first I thought, well, that's not very good. It should be folded down. But since it's hidden by this part, it works out very, very well to be on the top. It makes it really easy to get into. And if you look on the inside, it's got the matching fabric on the inside for the lining. And it was very, very simple to use. It's got a zippered pocket in here. So if you're not a real experienced bag maker, I think you'll find this is a really great one for you to get started with. After you put the lining actually on the outside and sew it around the zipper, you turn the whole thing inside out and then close it through the zipper pocket. So there's no seams that you have to do by hand. And I made this in an afternoon. It went together really quick. I have some big grommets at home, but I had a little bit of trouble trying to figure out exactly how to make them work. And then I started thinking about it, thinking, you know, this doesn't need another handle. This black and white handle's perfect for this bag, so why put it in there? So I had some magnetic snaps, so I put magnetic snaps up here. When these flop down, these are pockets right here. So you could carry the bag just like this if you wanted to, or you can close this little thing up on top. It's just a really cute little bag that's really easy for those days when you don't want to carry a great big huge purse. So I wanted to do something fast and simple that went with the red, white, and blue theme. So I got this little table runner that was really fast and easy to do. I have a confession to make. I did not make this. My friend Gail made it. I've mentioned her before. She does a lot of projects for me when I'm running a little bit short. I ordered this in because it's called Desert Stars. But I thought it would make a great red, white, and blue patriotic quilt. And it actually did. It came out really, really cute. We used some scraps from one of my other quilts. I wanted to go with kind of a country rustic look. So I had some fabric that looks, it's not the bright red, white, and blue. It's more of a country red, white, and blue. And in the fabric, there was this really cute little border of some stuffed what I call prims, old-fashioned little Raggedy Ann dolls. And so there's a couple of those, and there's a little bunny rabbit, and they're all in red, white, and blue. So we fussy cut those in the middle and then use the other fabrics to complete the stars. Isn't that a cute table runner? Very easy to go together. And then my friend Gail, she has a luminaire, so she quilted it with one of the edge-to-edge quilts that are on her luminaire. And it just was very fast and easy, and I think you'd really have a lot of fun making it with whatever fabric you've got sitting around in your stash. So I've got 2 quilt books for you today. And this one is a little deceiving because it's called A Season in Blue. It's a lot like the red and white quilts I did last time I did So Fun. But I think it's really fun to use these books and do something different with them. Don't follow the rules, don't do them in blue. Even though I have a confession to make, I looked through this one and it had some really cute, if you want to make something that's nothing but blue and white, look at that one. That is a really pretty quilt. It's going to take somebody who's got a lot of time and a lot of talent to make something like that. But there's also some really cute little houses in here. Let me get, this has got several pages telling you how to make this quilt. But isn't that a cute quilt that's just nothing but little houses and everything? So that one would be a lot of fun. The book is just chock full of different kinds of quilts to inspire you to do something different. But what I wanted to do with it is I wanted to do a baby quilt. And I had gone to Missouri Star, I know I've mentioned that before, and I found this really cute baby fabric. I have a new great grandson, his name is Nicholas, and I wanted to make him a quilt. So this fabric was just perfect. It's got little animals on it, but they're nice and big. And so I needed a big square for the center, so I didn't cut it up too small. And then it had a coordinating fabric that had the animals on it that I could do the points of the stars with. And then, once I decided on that, I started thinking about just coordinating other fabrics. So I went to the store and I looked for animal prints, and I found a giraffe and I found a zebra print to put in there along with a solid color turquoise from our fabrics in the store, the shadow play, and then the polka dot actually came with the fabric. And I sewed that together, and I just think it came out just absolutely adorable. It's a little bit bigger than your standard baby quilt, but that's good because then he can drag it around for a very long time. Then I went back to the fabric store to look for a backing. Take your quilt with you when you go to look for a backing. Lay it down on top of the different fabrics because you'd be amazed at what you might find. I ended up with this yellow gingham check. It is flannel. It's really soft. So it's great for a baby blanket. It would have been the last thing I would have picked if I hadn't taken the quilt with me, but the colors match really nicely, and I'm very pleased with the backing on it. I also quilted it on my new Simply 16 with the Pro Stitcher Light, and in there they had the cutest little pattern that had elephants and lions and frogs, which goes with my fabric so perfectly. So I thought the quilting was really nice on it, and it just came out really cute. So also in this book, I had bought some fabric for my brother. My brother lives in California and he's a school teacher, and I wanted to make him something special. So I had found a layer cake with school fabrics on it. And this is what I ended up with. At first I was a little bit concerned. The pattern, actually I have to switch because this one is done in a different book. So we'll come back to the Season in Blue book. This one is called Quilting with Stash to Cash, with stash or cash. And one of the things I like about this a whole lot is that it gives you 2 quilts for every pattern. One is cash, so you're going to go shopping and it's going to give you the measurements of what you need to do to make the quilt. And then the other one is stash, And it's usually a simpler quilt, a little bit smaller. Same idea, but with different scrap fabrics. So if you want to make scrap quilts, there's several of them in here. If you want to go shopping and buy fabric, there's also ideas for that. So you can use that. At first I started with the stash one, but then I decided I wanted to make it bigger because my brother's a grown man and he's going to want a bigger quilt. So I ordered another layer cake online, and when I ordered the second layer cake online, I saw this other fabric that's right here, that's also kind of a science school theme. It's not the same as this one, but it's got the same colors. This is not a red, white, and blue quilt, but it's got red, white, and blue in it, so I think it works with the theme. But what I was saying before was, I thought that this one that's in the book was perfect for what I wanted to do, and then I started to do the black and white, and then I was worried that it was going to be a little bit too busy. But because I stuck with the black and the white, it makes from a distance a very striking black and white quilt, and then when you get up close to it, you see all the books and the school things and everything else in it. So I actually was very pleased with the way it came out. And then I have a tendency to get a little crazy with the backs of my quilts. They don't always go, but who sees the back when you're looking at the front? So it doesn't really matter all that much. But I also wanted to get something that was school themed. So what I ended up doing was I got this one with books all over it. They're still all primary colors. There's a cute little bookworm on it. I just think it came out really nice. He's going to really love it. And it was just a really fun quilt to make. So let's go back to A Season in Blue, because the other book that I made, the other quilt that I made from A Season in Blue was a red, white, and blue quilt, because I need to kind of stick with my theme. So this one here is called Sky and Sea. It's red and white, but I thought it would be very, number one, it has stars on it, which goes with the red, white, and blue theme. It would be very easy to translate it to a red, white, and blue quilt. And that's what I ended up doing. And I used my stash, so I did not have to go shopping for anything but the backing. I had enough red, white, and blue fabric in my stash. It was a little bit hard. I had to keep telling myself, you're working on the star, not the background. This is red, this is blue, this is red, this is blue. But once I got one square done, the rest of them went together really fast, and I was able to switch it out a few times and get some different kinds of looks. And then I put it on my Simply 16 and did a star quilt pattern on it. So that kind of completed the whole thing and made it look very 4th of July and very patriotic. I like the way it came out. So this book has a lot of really good quilts in it, and it's definitely something that would add to your library of quilt books. And the last quilt I want to show you today was also from the Quilting with Stash or Cash book. I have a nephew from my son's wife's family. His name is Pablito, and he loves Thomas the Train. So I found some Thomas the Train fabric, and I cut that all up. It was actually in 5 by 5 squares. So I had to pick a pattern that didn't have any big squares in it, and this one here was absolutely perfect. It does have a nice big square in the center of each one of these blocks, so I could cut out a Thomas the Train to do the center, and then all the rest of it could use the other fabrics that were in the layer cake that I purchased. So, but it was, and it's also not red, white, and blue, but it's red, white, blue, yellow, and green. So I used a little bit of other fabrics that I had in my stash to fill in some of the extra squares. Like right down the middle of it, you'll see that it has blue and red and green and yellow blocks that are just going down the middle of it. And then I outlined it in red and yellow from fabrics that we have in the store, and a nice big white border to finish it up. It came out really cute. I think it's a really fun quilt. So again, just remember, you can use all different kinds of fabrics to finish up your quilts and really enjoy making something that's special for a special person who likes something in particular. So I hope you enjoyed everything I had to show you today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.